Hello and welcome to another episode of Time to Conquer. I am your host, Mia Paul, and each week I like to start us off by reminding you how thankful I am that you have committed to taking a couple moments out of your very busy life to spend it with me in your ear as we let go and release the baggage of our past, reevaluate where we are now, figure out where we want to go, and start to take control of our life so we can begin to live a life that we love. The last couple of weeks, we have done some deep personal dives into all of the things that we need to discuss as we begin or commit to a personal journey of transformation. We have talked about how to tune out the noise from others around us, how to reevaluate those that we have allowed to surround us, and if their opinion matters to us or not. We have also done some personal reflection about who we want to become and what steps we can take to make sure we are moving forward in the right direction. We've talked about how important discipline and commitment are and how motivation is fleeting, but discipline is daily. I think that as we step farther into our evolution together, we need to remember to sometimes give ourselves some grace. Journeys of transformation are hard. Journeys of transformation take time. Evolution doesn't happen overnight. As humans, we have seasons of life. We have seasons of growth. We have seasons of personal reflection. We have seasons of survival. Each of those seasons has a purpose, and today I want to show you how you can remember what you've gone through, how you can appreciate the pain and the struggle so you can start to move forward. One of the things I see often with my life coaching clients is if they have gone through trauma, if they are finally emerging from a season of survival, one of the first things they want to do is shut that door and never think about that stuff again. Now, depending on what you went through, depending on what your trauma or your season of survival entailed, maybe at first that's what you need to do to move forward. However, one of the signs that I can see when one of my clients is ready to move from survival and healing to growth is when they are able and willing to look at those past experiences with appreciation. Appreciation because those moments showed them their strength. Those painful memories reminded them of their survival. Sometimes you have something thrown at you and all you can think is how will I get through this? How will I ever survive? And then a couple months pass and you're still here. You've put in the work to keep moving forward. Not every day has been awesome. Not every day has been easy. In fact, most of them have been hard. But you did survive. You proved to yourself that that moment, that pain did not kill you. It did not break you down. It did not prevent you from starting to take control and moving forward and living a life that you deserve. And for that, you are a warrior. Sometimes you need to remember and give yourself credit for the strength you have shown in the past. Because those moments, that strength, that pain got you here right now, wherever you are listening to me while you're thinking of your future. That's the big difference between survival and growth. You might be in the same environment. You might be going through some similar things. But when you are in survival mode, all you think about is right now. I need to get through today. I need to get through this week. I need to get through this month. I need to get through this minute. And sometimes that's where you need to be. And then when you get to your season of growth, You start thinking of the future. This is where I'm going. This is where I will this be. This is who I will become. But that bridge between survival and growth is a funny little thing called healing. And healing is the hardest part. And I can't tell you how long you will need to be in that phase. But you need to get through your healing so you can be able to grow. When I talk to my personal life coaching clients, I can see the shift in them. I can see them go from blame and anger and hurt to acceptance and the ability to let go. Now, the thing is, don't get me wrong. When I say that you need to accept the things that have been going on in your past, when I say that you need to accept those memories as just fact, because that's how it was, that's what happened to you, that does not mean you need to accept that behavior into your future. That does not mean you need to allow those people, those experiences, those memories to dictate who you will become and the life you will live in the future. Acceptance is hard because sometimes you need to accept without getting closure. You need to accept without getting an apology. Sometimes you need to accept that you were part of the issue. You were part of the struggle. Your choices got you where you were, but that also means you can accept that you are in control of the future, that you decide who, what, and where your life is going to involve. What behavior you accept, what friendships you lean into, and what personal growth, development, and reflection you are willing to put in so you can be in full control of your life. I don't know where you are tuning into, but I am a Midwestern girl. I specifically live in Wisconsin, and here we are known to have 4 beautiful but very different seasons. Living here, it's interesting because our seasons in nature are very close to our seasons of personal growth. They are not all the same. They are not the same length. They are not the same intensity, but they all are pieces of a puzzle that need to happen for the next season to come. Here in Wisconsin, we have some beautiful falls, some incredibly hopeful springs, but really the 2 seasons we focus on the most here are our summer and our winter. Our summer is short, but it is packed. We have about 3 months where we can do all of the outdoor activities, where we can see all of the people, where we can do all of the festivals. We're home to Summerfest, the largest music festival in the world, and on those grounds every week in summer, usually, we have a cultural festival. So you think of a culture, they have a festival here, and we in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee, we can experience that culture for 1 week, and then the next week we get something new. It is an incredible life experience to live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin in the summertime. Now this year, 2020, maybe not the same. Unfortunately, as you can guess, almost everything was canceled, rescheduled, or changed. And as we go into fall here soon, followed by our winter, it will be interesting to see how the people of our state and the Midwest in general can handle what's about to come, because we didn't get that release we normally get. Now, depending on who you are, there were still some outdoor activities you could do, but it was not the full Milwaukee, Wisconsin experience, and we did not get the full 3 months that we look forward to all year to experience outdoors. and to be surrounded by people and music and fun activities every single day. The reason we look forward to that season so much is because our winters are long. We get about a month and a half of spring, a month and a half of fall, 3 months of summer, and 6 months of winter. Obviously, all varying degrees. The beginning of winter isn't so bad. The snow is nice for about 2 weeks when everything is covered in beautiful, white, clean snow. And then it all starts to go downhill. It starts to get dirty and grimy. Our activities are severely limited unless you're going sledding or skiing. And it gets to be the point where it hurts to breathe when you walk outside. Your lungs physically burn when you breathe in the air because it is so cold. And in those moments, I know that sometimes it feels like the season will last forever. Now, even though I live in Wisconsin, I am an island girl at heart. I don't know why I still live here. I'm glad I do, because this is where I met my husband. This is where we've decided to raise our children for now. But personally, I could do without the winter. Give me a beach, give me some warm sun, and I would be good year round. However, the seasons here have made me realize how appreciative I am of the other seasons away from winter, because the environment is so different and people are so grateful. Maybe if we lived in a place that it was like that year round, I wouldn't see so many people thankful for the beautiful colors of the leaves changing and the warm rains we get in spring where everything starts to turn green again and flowers bloom. And then summer where we can have every single day outside, in the pool, at different concerts and festivals, enjoying our time because we know we need to get it in then. Because soon enough, we will be trapped inside forever. Again, 2020 has sort of changed that because we have been trapped inside for a long time. And I pray that we will survive this summer and get to spring 2021 and we will be through the hardest part of this pandemic. But even if we're not, even if we still have some residual COVID-19 pain that we're going through, I hope that we will have a different experience with spring and summer, because we will be more prepared. We will be able to adjust. We will have been through this for a full year. So please let it be a better, more welcoming summer than the one that we are currently just ending. All of this talk about nature and the seasons and appreciating the differences come back to our personal journey, because you can't appreciate one season of life without going through the other seasons as well. Sometimes we want all of the rich harvest of good times and hitting successful goals and feeling our growth, and we don't want to put in the work of working through the pain, letting it go, and changing what we need to change so we can see the next season coming, where we can finally breathe a sigh of relief because we know we did the hard work. I have never met a successful person in my life who has had everything handed to them, has not had any sort of struggle, and was able to just coast on through without any sort of pain. People's pain and trauma may be different. What is painful for you may not be painful for somebody else, but the thing is, it doesn't matter what you are going through. The things you survived will change and dictate who you will become. When we talk about a journey of transformation and evolution, it is easy to compare our seasons of struggle with other people's seasons of harvest, with our pains comparing to other people's pleasures. And that is the most unfair thing you can do to yourself in your journey of transformation, because you don't know what they have been through. Just like sometimes you keep those moments of pain and struggle close to your heart because you just need to be able to heal them before you can talk about them. Other people do the same. One of the things I've learned as a life coach that has really helped me in my life is every time I go through a moment or a season of pain, it helps me to know that I'm going through something. I am personally experiencing something that will allow me to help somebody else go through it in the future. Can you imagine talking to somebody, a coach or a therapist, and sharing your heart and spilling it all out onto the table, and them not being able to relate to you because they've never had any sort of pain? Would you want to take any advice that person is giving you? No. I'll answer for you. No, you would not. And sometimes the mindset of always be positive and just get through it and you'll be okay is damaging. Because on social media especially, you will be comparing your real life to somebody else's highlight reel. And even if that person, that coach, that influencer, that therapist is open and raw and vulnerable about the things that they have been through, you would be in a different chapter in comparing yourself to them. And you are only hurting yourself and slowing your growth when you do that. It is very important to remember that it doesn't matter what anybody else has been through. It doesn't matter the pain they have been through if you allow them into your circle of support. All that matters is that they are there to help you move forward and grow, and that they understand going through pain. Pain is relative. And people of different upbringings and different life experiences and different personalities see things on a different scale. So if you were to come to me and tell me that XYZ happened to you in your past, and that is why you are committed to growth because you don't want that to ever happen to you again. I, with my years of experience and multiple life coaching clients, can listen to you, acknowledge your pain, and help support you moving forward. That's my job. That's why I'm here. I'm not here to tell you that those pain points aren't valid. I'm not here to one-up you and tell you my pain was worse or my experience was so much different and you should be grateful you only had that. That wouldn't help you at all. And people who are self-serving aren't able to remove themselves out of the situation and move forward for you because they're only thinking about them. A personal story I have that I'm very open about that was a huge pain point for me that led me to becoming who I am now was the fact that I was abandoned by my mother at 6 months. I grew up my whole life without a mother or motherly figure other than people who were fleeting. I don't have anybody that I can look at right now and say, you have been there for me my whole life in a female aspect. I have my father. He's been there for me my whole life. And unfortunately, the only woman I could probably say that about was my grandmother, and she is no longer with us. I have shared before on the podcast how scared I was when I found out I was going to be a mom to a daughter. I was so lost. I didn't know how that relationship would be. I didn't know how to be a mom to a daughter. I just had so much self-doubt. And I remember one of the times I was finally comfortable enough to open myself up to somebody else and tell them and share with them this this fear I had, and they were probably not the person I should have opened up to. Not because they were a bad person, not because anything was wrong with them, but because I spilled my guts. I shared all of these thoughts I had been bottling up inside about how scared I was and how much fear I had moving forward, but I didn't have a choice. I had a growing baby girl in my stomach, and eventually she was going to be born, and she was going to be here, and I would have to figure it out. And in that moment, looking back, I know what I was really looking for was just some reassurance that I would be okay, that I am strong, that I am a survivor, that I got where I am through surviving all of that pain that I had. But what I was met with, unfortunately, was a personal story from that individual about how horrible her relationship was with her mom and how I was lucky not to have a mom. And as long as I wasn't this horrible person that she had, that it would be okay. And as long as if I was going to be a horrible person, then my daughter would be better off without having a mom. And I went home and I cried after that conversation because it only put more doubt into my mind. Here I was talking to somebody who was, in my mind, lucky enough to have a mom, asking for some reassurance that it would be okay. No matter what happened, it would be okay as long as I stuck by my daughter's side. And what I was met with was confirmation that if I messed up, my daughter would be mad at me in the future and telling some random person about how they would be better off without a mom. It was exactly the opposite of what I needed. Fortunately, there were a couple days, maybe a week or so, that I let that seep into my brain, and I let that self-doubt and that fear consume me. I'm thankful that at that time of my life, I was aware enough to know that one opinion is not the end all be all, and that if you want a second opinion, you are more than welcome to go out and ask another person and get a second, third, fourth, and fifth. But that conversation reminded me of something. It reminded me that people have different perspectives. Here I was, 25 years old, maybe a little older, definitely a little older, 27 years old. And my whole life, I had thought, as long as if I had had a mom, any mom, even the most abusive mom, I would have been better. I would have been more prepped to have a daughter of my own. And that conversation, even though it wasn't what I needed in that moment, looking back, actually did have some value to me. Because it reminded me that with different perspective comes different views. And it reminded me that my goal was not to just be a mom. It was not to just be here physically with my daughter. My goal was to be the best mom that I could be. My goal, my commitment was going to be to being willing to go through any hard time with her that we experienced together to come out better on the other side. My daughter's only 2, and if you have a 2-year-old, you know sometimes it's a struggle. She is my daughter through and through, and the personality is fierce. However, I am reminded daily when it comes to being patient and kind and loving and leading our family with the intention of being who I am in the best version of me, that it takes more than just birthing a child to be a mother. It takes more than just creating a child to be a father. You need to know very clearly the type of parent you want to be able to remember those desires in the hard times of parenting. My season of survival through childhood is a lot different than my season of growth through motherhood. However, that bridge that I needed to cross was a season of healing. I went probably 20 years feeling immense anger and hatred towards my biological mother. I didn't understand how somebody could abandon a child. To this day, I don't understand it. But the thing that's changed is I realize I don't need to understand it. However, I need to accept it. I need to accept that that's what happened to me. And that's how my life was. Because without that pain, without those memories or lack of memories, I would not be the mother I am right now to my children. Both of them, my son and my daughter. From the moment I found out I was pregnant with my son 8 years ago, when I was speaking to my husband, at the time, boyfriend, I said something. One of the first lines that came out of my mouth when we talked about my pregnancy was, I am going to be there forever. My children will never, ever wonder if I'm going to show up for a school meeting or a game or a moment of pain when somebody breaks their heart or they have somebody stab them in the back. I will be there. And I made that commitment instantly, the moment I found out I was going to be a mother. Without the pain I had been through, I may not have been so secure in that decision. I may not have been so headstrong and committed to changing my life to be a better role model for them as I was and still currently am. As we take it away from my life story and back to your story, I share this to remind you that I have also made the decision to take control. I made that decision in a grand fashion years ago when I changed everything: my job, my social circle, where I was living, my personal intimate relationship, my growth with myself, my acceptance of the past. But I also make that decision on a daily basis. When I wake up and look at those two cute, sometimes screaming faces in front of me and remind myself that the things I do today will dictate the people they become in the future. Self-growth is hard. There is so much work that needs to be put in, but the seasons that we go through all have a purpose. The survival that we had to do, the survival season that we had to experience, made us strong enough to put the work in to be able to grow. The moments of healing we had to accept, the times where we had to evaluate what we were going to allow in our future, those moments dictated what our future is going to look like. In the moments of struggle, they can seem like they're going to last forever. And the moments of success can be so fleeting. But the hours, days, months, years of pain are worth the seconds, minutes, hours, days, months, years of joy. Not every day is going to be perfect. I am not a perfect mother. However, I am a present mother who is constantly committed to becoming better. When I look at my goals, that's all that can be asked of me. My children will not have only memories of frolicking in the fields with me, and I yell, and we have discipline in our household. But I am in our household. My children will grow up seeing and experiencing a different normal than what I did. And that generational pull, when we talked a couple episodes back about how what you do today affects 7 generations after you, in one lifetime, I will change the normal of my children and their families forever. And if I needed one reminder that this work is worth it, it's that right there. So your personal journey may be different. Your trauma, your survival may be rooted in something else that's not parenting or child rearing or being a family member. But I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, it has something to do with an experience you've had that you don't want to feel again, that you don't want somebody else to feel again, and that it is a cycle you will not allow to continue. So sometimes you need to do some deep digging, and sometimes you need to do some acceptance and release. And I hope today our episode really helps you remember why you're doing this, why you've committed to this journey of self-preservation, but also growth. You are here today because of what you have been through. Every small, little, seemingly insignificant, and the huge life-altering experiences you have been through all add up to you today being willing to commit to growth and improvement. I am so proud of you for anything you have survived. Please be proud of yourself as well. Give yourself some grace. Not every period of life, not every season will be one of growth, but every season will be worth it. And the cycle of survival and healing and growth and thrival will all come together when you look back at the years you will put into this self-transformation and evolution journey. I hope my message today hit you hard. I hope there was something I shared that reminded you of the warrior you are. And I hope my message will help you release some of that pain and accept it moving forward. As always, I want to remind you, I am here in your corner, whether you know me or not. We spend this time together every week, and I am grateful for our moments together. If you would like to spend more time together or dive deeper into your personal experiences, I am here and offering myself to be your life coach. If you go into the show notes of this episode or any other episode of this podcast, you will find a link to my calendar where I offer you a free, totally free, no strings attached, 30-minute consultation call where we can see how I can come with you on this journey of transformation, where we can see together if we would be a good fit to help you release the past, evaluate where you are now, and take control of your life. I am proud to be here for you. I am thankful that you allow me into your life on a weekly basis and have connected with me in so many other ways, on social media, by subscribing to this podcast, by emailing me. It is amazing the relationships I have created by putting myself out there on this podcast, and I am thankful for the way you have received me and loved me through it all. I hope you take some time today to remember how much of a badass warrior you are. I hope you have somebody in your life right now that can remind you how worthy you are of living a life you love. Your survival period will not be forever. Your healing period will end eventually. Your growth period will come, and it will take some time, and it will take a whole lot of work, but it will eventually lead you to a period where you can thrive and love who you are, love who you see in the mirror, and start to be a better person for those around you. I want to end our episode today by reminding you the things you're going through today, the things you've been through recently or any time in your past, they have prepared you to help somebody else go through the same. You may not be ready. You may not want to be a life coach, and it doesn't have to be 0 to 100. But because of the things that you have experienced, because of the pain you have lived through, when one of your friends or loved ones or a stranger on the internet finally feels comfortable enough to allow herself or himself to let down their walls and share something with you with the hopes that you can provide some insight, you will be able to fall back on these moments of growth and remember exactly what you needed to hear, and you will be able to share that with them. So thank you for taking this time with me today. Thank you for constantly checking in and tuning in to this podcast. Thank you for subscribing and leaving all of your kind words and love in the review section. And thank you for being you and accepting me. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I can't wait to speak to you next week. See you soon.